scope. Now, let us take again the set our space R n, and again consider the set B dash is equal to f 1, f 2 and f n, where what is f 1? F 1 is equal to 1 0 0, f 2 is equal to 1 1 0 0, and finally f n is equal to 1 1 and 1. I leave it to you to prove that this set is linearly independent and it spans the whole space R n. That means, thus our vector space R n has two bases, one B equal to E 1 E 2 E n and second is f 1 f 2 f n. That means, a basis is not unique in a vector space. But one thing we can see from both the bases is that bases B and B dash have the same number of elements. Now, we prove this result in general, and for that we have the following theorem. Let us see on the screen. We have S is equal to the subset x 1 up to x m of vector space V such that V equal to the subspace spanned by S. Then any linearly independent subset of V contains at the most m vectors. Let us suppose that A is equal to y 1, y 2, y n is a linearly independent subset of our vector space V. Now, V is equal to the subspace spanned by subspace spanned by S, and so y 1 belongs to the subspace spanned by S, and this implies by our known theorem that the set y 1, x 1, x 2, x m is linearly independent. Here these vectors are linearly independent. So, none of them is a 0 vector. So, we again apply our theorem that, and one thing more, in the whole theorem we will assume that all the set under consideration are all order set. So, y 1 is not equal to 0, this set is linearly dependent, and so some x I will be a linear combination of the preceding vector. So, we remove that vector x I and we get the set S 1 is equal to y 1 x 1 x I minus 1 x I plus 1 and x m. And since the vector x I belongs to S, what we get is the subspace spanned by S 1 is equal to the subspace spanned by S, and that is equal to the whole set. Now, we take the vector y 2 and we define the set S 2 is equal to y 2 y 1 x 1 up to x m. Again y 2 belongs to V, and so y 2 belongs to the subspace spanned by S 1 and S 2 S 1, and so this set is linearly dependent, and again using the theorem either y 1 is a linear combination of y 2 or some vector here x j is a linear combination of the preceding vectors. Since vectors y 2 and y 1 they are linearly independent, y 1 can't be a linear combination of y 2. So, some vector x j must be a linear combination of previous vectors. So, we remove the vector x j and we get the third set y 2, y 1, x 1 and finally x m, such that the subspace spanned by S 3 is the subspace spanned by S 2 equal to subspace spanned by S 1, and that is equal to the whole vector space V. Again, now we introduce here y 3, all right. So, at each step now we continue this process. So, at each stage we remove one of this xi and we introduce one of this yj. So, if the number of vectors in M set A is greater than M, then the set Sm at the nth step will be of the form ym minus 1 up to y2 and ym, such that the subspace spanned by Sm is equal to the whole vector space V. Now, we have a vector ym plus 1 also, and so the vector ym plus 1 belongs to the subspace spanned by Sm, and that implies that vector ym plus 1 must be a linear combination of vectors y1, y2, ym minus 1 and ym, but we know that all these vectors are linearly independent, and so this is impossible, and that implies that the set A can contain at the most m vectors. All right. Now, we have next result. Yes, if a vector space V has a basis containing m vectors, then for any positive integer k greater than m, any subset V containing k vectors is always linearly independent, because it is a basis containing m vectors. Since it is a basis, the whole space V is spanned by m vectors basis x m. And since k is greater than m, just now by the previous theorem, all right, any set containing k plus 1 vectors or containing more than m vectors are linearly dependent. In fact, what we can derive is this also: if basis contains m vectors, then any set containing m plus 1 vectors is also linearly dependent. Now, we have next corollary. In a finite dimensional vector space, any two bases have the same number of elements. Yeah, let us see. Suppose B equal to x1, x2 and xn is a basis, one basis. Since V is a finite dimensional vector space, it has a basis B. And suppose B1 and B2 are two other bases. Now, this is a basis. So, subspace spanned by B equal to whole vector space V. B1 being a basis, all right, the elements vectors of B1 are linearly independent, and so by the previous theorem, number of elements in B1 must be at the most m. That means, if B1 contains k elements, then we have k less than or equal to n. Using the same argument for B2, if B2 contains m elements, then we have again m less than or equal to n. Now, we interchange B1 and B2. B1 is a basis, B2 is also basis, that means all the vectors are linearly independent, and so number of elements in B must be less than or equal to number of elements in B1. That means, what we get is n less than or equal to k, and similarly what we get here is n less than or equal to m, and that implies k is equal to n is equal to m. So, any two bases B1 and B2 have the same number of elements. Next now, yeah. So, just now what we prove is this, that if a finite dimensional vector space has a basis containing m vectors, then any other basis of V also contains m vectors, and this leads us to this says that the number of elements in a finite dimensional vector, number of elements in a basis of a finite dimensional vector space is independent of basis, and this leads us to the definition of dimension of a vector space. Let V be a non-zero finite dimensional vector space. The number of elements in any basis of V is called dimension of V, and it is denoted by dimension of V. So, now using this notation, we can say that dimension of R n is equal to n. Dimension of our vector space P n is equal to n plus 1. Dimension of R 2 is equal to 2, and dimension of R 3 is equal to 3. So, our geometrical consideration here coincide with our linear algebra approach also. Now, let us see next theorem. Yes, suppose dimension of vector space V is equal to m, then any subset of V containing k vectors with k greater than m is linearly dependent. This we already proved, but I want to use this result to prove second part. So, I have taken here is, in particular, any m plus 1 vectors of V are always linearly dependent. Now, we prove this. Any set of m linearly independent vectors in a vector space becomes a basis. So, suppose you have a set B is equal to x 1, x 2 and x m. This set is linearly independent. We want to prove that it is a basis. So, we have to prove two conditions. One is B is linearly independent, that is already given to us, and second thing is the subspace spanned by B is equal to whole vector space V. So, we take one vector x belonging to V. All right. Now, let us take this set x, x1, x2 up to xm. Let us take this set. This set contains m plus 1 vectors, and so by the first part this set is linearly dependent, and that implies there exist scalars alpha 0, alpha 1, alpha m, not all zeros, such that alpha 0 x plus alpha 1 x1 plus alpha m xm is equal to 0, 0 vector. First, we claim that alpha 0 is not equal to 0, because if alpha 0 equal to 0, then what we get is the equation alpha 1 x 1 plus up to alpha m x m equal to 0, and since x 1 x 2 x m are linearly independent, this gives you alpha 1 alpha 2 alpha m all zeros. That means what we get here is that if we assume that alpha 0 equal to 0, then alpha 1 alpha 2 up to alpha m all of them are 0, contradiction to the fact that alpha 0, alpha 1, alpha m are not all zeros, and that implies that alpha 0 x alpha 0 is not equal to 0. Since alpha 0 is not equal to 0, I can write down this equation in this form: sigma minus alpha I upon alpha 0 xi I is equal to 1 to m. That means vector x can be expressed as a linear combination of x1, x2, xm, and that implies that x belonging to V implies x belong to the subspace spanned by B. Since this is a subspace, it is also contained in V. So, x belongs to B implies x belong to the subspace spanned by V. This is also contained in V, and so this implies V is contained in the subspace spanned by V, and it is contained in V, and that implies V is equal to the subspace spanned by V. So, any set containing n linearly independent vectors becomes a basis. Now, we have next theorem. Yes. What we are given is that V is a finite dimensional vector space with dimension of V is equal to n. Then any linearly independent subset of V can be extended to a basis of V. Suppose S is equal to x1, x2, xm is a linearly independent subset of V. Then by definition, what we already proved, that m must be less than or equal to n, because bases contain n vectors. Now, if m is equal to n, then by the previous result we have dimension is equal to m, and all right, this set also contains n vectors, and so it becomes a basis. Suppose m is less than n. If m is less than n, then since S is linearly independent, S can't be a basis. And this implies that the subspace spanned by S is not equal to V. So, we choose one vector xm plus 1 belonging to V complement the subspace spanned by S. This implies that xm plus 1 does not belong to the subspace spanned by S. Now, we have already proved one theorem, that suppose x1, x2, xm are linearly independent vectors, and if x does not belong to span of them, then the enlarged set is also linearly independent. So, we take this set now, S1 is equal to x1, x2, xm and xm plus 1. This set is also linearly independent. If m plus 1 is equal to n, then S1 becomes a basis. If m plus 1 is less than n, we continue this process, and after n minus k process, all right, we get the set S n minus k is equal to x1,